a higher probability of pedophilia in elite circles of power.
With Sean Combs is that there was a lot of drugs around.
Yes.
And with Epstein, he liked you to be very present, and there was never any alcohol or drugs around.
The day you put out a hit is the day Diddy admits that he put the hit out that got Pac killed.
Why did they tell us that there was all these videos of all these high-profile people and then silence?
The Diddy case seems to have come to a tentative end, and despite the vast number of allegations against him, the rapper will walk free by 2028. Technically, everything has been thoroughly investigated, and the most serious charges, some of which could have led to a life sentence, were dropped due to lack of evidence.
Quite literally in the last few seconds, the judge handing down his sentence to Sean Diddy Combs, who he has ruled will spend 50 months in prison. So that's just over 4 years in prison for his crimes. Sean Combs has already been in prison for just over a year. So that means he will spend a further 3 years in prison. It's towards the lower end of the potential maximum sentence for the 2 counts of trafficking for prostitution, of which he was found guilty back in the summer. The prosecution had asked for him to serve more than 11 years. The defence team had asked for him to be sentenced to 14 months. The judge deciding, as I say, that Sean Combs will spend just over 4 years in total in prison.
But is this truly all there is to the story? Diddy's mansions were raided by the HSI, and before he went to trial, the prosecutors sounded very confident that they had a much stronger case against him.
First, a brief update. Prosecutors announcing this week they are no longer pursuing several allegations against the music mogul pertaining to the racketeering charge he faces. Writing in a letter to the judge, the theories of kidnapping, attempted arson, and aiding and abetting sex trafficking will no longer be pursued. The reason, trying to simplify the case against him. But all the charges still remain. Combs himself decided not to testify on his own behalf, despite prosecutors calling 34 witnesses who detailed Combs' alleged criminal sex trafficking enterprise spanning multiple decades that involved freak-offs and hotel nights. The trial also featuring multiple celebrities, including rapper Kid Cudi, who was called to the stand to testify, also Kanye West, who made a surprise appearance in court to support Combs.
Rumors of tapes, A-list celebrities testifying, and incriminating photographic and video evidence. But most of the trial seemed to hinge on one testimony, Cassie's. The only footage released to the public centered around Diddy's ex-girlfriend, against the wishes of many. Everything else seemingly vanished off the face of the earth.
Actually, like, physically raped, but I mean, it seems like what's going on is just like this weird cultish thing where they slowly get creep closer and closer and closer to this thing. Like, oh, I'm here now. All these famous people are here. They're doing this. Like
elaborate parties, lots of money, everything you want. The golden carrot at the end of the stick.
Right.
So the thing is, he's not even being charged for any of the things you just brought up. He's not being charged for blackmail, which is kind of crazy. Because what did they do? Why did they tell us that there was all these videos of all these high-profile people and then silence, and then it never comes up once during the trial? There's none of that stuff in the trial. In the trial, it was his ex-girlfriend Cassie. They were talking about, so like, he's up for these 2 charges left, and it's like prostitution, something. It's like nothing stuff. It's like stuff that he's going to go to jail for like 5 years, if at all, and probably won't.
Right.
And he's already been in jail for, so like, what is time served now? It's over a year, right?
Yeah.
So was it truly lack of evidence or something more sinister? After all, this isn't the first powerful people have worked together to hide obvious offenders from the public eye. Jeffrey Epstein has been dead for 7 years, nearly a decade, and even now we cannot confidently say who was involved or not. Worse still, even those who have been explicitly stated to be involved walk free.
Okay, let's talk about some of the high-profile names that you can. I'm just going to go through them, and you can give us a quick overview if you've gotten to these.
Yeah.
Elon Musk.
Lots of files regarding Elon Musk. Lots of emails and correspondence going back and forth about in the early 2010s about him discussing visiting Epstein's island. No confirmation that he ever went to the island, but lots of emails about him talking about going to the island.
Howard Lutnick.
He said in 2005 that he cut off all contact with Epstein after him and his wife visited Epstein's home. They were neighbors on the Upper East Side. They saw the massage room in Epstein's home. They were disgusted and they said they cut off all ties. But in 2012, they were discussing a trip to Epstein's Island. And then as recently as 2017, Epstein made a $50,000 contribution per an email on behalf of Lutnick to a foundation.
Prince Andrew must be all over this.
All over it. There are actually pretty horrific pictures of Prince Andrew on all fours over a survivor, or what appears to be a survivor, a woman or a young girl. It's unclear what her age is.
Truly, how different are Diddy and Epstein? Both billionaires, powerful men with powerful connections, and rumors that took years to gain legal traction, only to serve little to no purpose. Diddy only got a sentence of 50 months, and Epstein died after barely a month into his arrest. And one thing that's the most similar about their cases is how, despite the number of high-profile people involved, neither of their arrests led to any more names coming to light.
And this is what Kurt Metzger called a long time ago. As soon as he saw that it was Comey's daughter, he was like, oh, he's going to walk. Trust me, he's going to walk. There's a bunch of high-profile people that are connected to this.
Yeah.
They're covering it all up. If he goes down, they go down. So he's not going to go down.
Right.
So that's the thing. Like, if he really did have, like, really wealthy, high-profile people at his parties, which we know he did, you know? Diddy prosecutors abandoned multiple allegations against rapper days before trial's end. Hey, he says,
wow.
Hey, remember I called it? This is Kurt Metzger on Twitter. Because James Comey's daughter is the prosecutor. Yep. Remember how well she swept up on the Ghislaine trail?
Yep.
Hey, who else called it?
Yep.
I can't be the only one. Yeah, he called it.
Yep.
He called it in
I remember this now.
He called it in the fucking green room of the mothership. Right when he found out, he goes, he's going to walk. I'm like, what are you talking about? Have you heard these charges?
Yeah.
He's going to go to jail.
It seems like Diddy was fine being the scapegoat while all his peers escaped the heavy scrutiny and legal troubles. But people believe Epstein wasn't ready to behave as nicely and paid the price for it.
So why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit different.
Massive public rumors claim Jeffrey Epstein did not die by suicide. While the official medical examiner ruled his death a hanging, skepticism exploded because he possessed highly sensitive secrets about global elites. Skeptics argue that a wealthy individual facing trial would be kept under the tightest security, making a sudden suicide highly suspicious.
But it seems like there's a higher percentage of people in those circles that engage in that kind of stuff, including our own U.S. government. And I think that that's probably why you don't see a lot of it being released, is that there are people that are currently in positions of power and influence that are probably on that list. But I think he did two things. I think he mostly made money in providing a service for people at a very high level for child sex trafficking. And I think whether or not he actually videotaped it and blackmailed them, maybe not. But I think there's an understanding that he knew all of the people that were doing it, and there's enough of those people with enough power and influence to say, I don't want that guy going anywhere near a courtroom, knowing what he knows.
To back up the homicide theory, people point to severe, highly unusual prison failures that happened concurrently. The two guards assigned to watch Epstein fell asleep, neglected their mandatory checks, and later falsified prison logs. Furthermore, the surveillance cameras positioned directly outside his cell mysteriously malfunctioned, leaving no video footage of the hours leading up to his death.
Some breaking news right now. Disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein has taken his own life while he was behind bars here in New York City. Epstein was facing sex trafficking charges. NBC News investigative correspondent Tom Winter now has the very latest. Tom, what more do we know?
Peter, what we know now is that at 6:39 this morning, the fire department and EMS here in New York City got a phone call from MCC, which is a federal detention facility here in Manhattan in New York City, where Jeffrey Epstein was being held awaiting trial. They took him to New York's downtown hospital. He was in cardiac arrest, and he was pronounced there. What we know from officials that have been briefed on what happened, he was found, it appeared that he had hung himself in his cell or wherever he was being held within MCC, and he was found by prison officials this morning, and that's when they reached out and they called EMS in unsuccessful attempts to revive him. So that happened early this morning, and right now what we're trying to do is figure out if he was still on suicide watch, because there was an incident that occurred several weeks ago where he injured himself. It wasn't quite clear if that was an attempt on his life, an attempt to...
The strongest physical proof cited by theorists comes from Epstein's autopsy findings. A private forensic pathologist hired by Epstein's family revealed that his neck contained multiple fractures, including a broken hyoid bone. Medical experts note that these specific breaks and certain patterns of eye hemorrhaging are statistically more common in homicidal strangulation than in suicidal hangings.
So in 1,000 cases that you've reviewed in the New York State prison system since Attica,
right,
you've never seen a 3-bone fracture in a suicide.
That's correct.
But the New York State Medical Examiner, which also looked at this, they say, no, we have seen it and we think it's a suicide.
So I've been reviewing all the records since Attica as to when a suicide occurs. We haven't, in New York State's prison, seen that kind of fractures, number one. Number two, maybe our experiences are different. But this certainly suggests that it could be a homicide.
But it's important, though, to point out, too, that, because 60 Minutes also, to Tony's point, also talked to other pathologists who also agree with the suicide findings. You're being paid by the Epstein family. Isn't it in your best interest to go along with what they believe happened?
They don't believe that happened. They want to know what happened. I think that the brother or the estate would just as soon have this to be a suicide because there's no advantage to them to be a homicide. Mark Epstein is now concerned about a homicide. If his brother was killed because he knew too much, is he also at jeopardy? Other people at jeopardy?
Jaguar Wright claimed that there are tapes of multiple celebrities available on the dark web. She highlighted how the entertainment industry has always gone hand in hand with work and prostitution, and that even in Diddy's case, the cycle of abuse and assault predates him.
Listen to me.
Please.
Prostitute and actress meant the same thing in 1865. If you were called an actress, that meant you were a prostitute. See, it's the evolution of the...
Yeah.
That was glorified.
Correct.
That video was everywhere. And now we got girls say, oh, I love it when he pees on me.
Yeah.
So, do you see the evolution?
Yeah, that video was, the DVD was being sold like...
First time I saw it was in a music studio.
Damn.
Like every other industry porn.
Damn.
First time I saw Paris Hilton's tape, A Night in Paris, was in his studio. The first time I saw Mary J. Blige being gang raped on camera at Death Row after hours was in the studio. Why would all of this illicit be in a place where music is supposed to be being created, energy, why would all of that be happening? Why would these things be hitting there before they make it out there to the world? If it wasn't working hand in hand to begin with.
She also pointed out that nearly every person that was associated with Diddy is either dead or has their own scandals and rumors to deal with. And one thing we are well aware of is that Diddy's crimes were also just rumors once upon a time. Ashton Kutcher, Jay-Z, Beyonce, R. Kelly, and on the other hand, Biggie, Tupac, Aaliyah, Kim Porter.
He makes a reference for Diddy in that song as well. The lyrics read, "But Kels, the day you put out a hit is the day Diddy admits that he put the hit out that got Pac killed." Eminem, in his song, whether he is serious or it's just creative liberty, he has just now accused Diddy of murder. But at the end of the song, Eminem says, "And I'm just playing Diddy, you know I love you." Diddy never made a public statement about Eminem's lyrics, but sources that were close to Diddy said he was furious. He was pissed off. So what the hell does this all mean? If he's not joking, that means Eminem truly just accused Diddy of killing one of the biggest names in the rap world, Tupac? But that was in 2018. Nobody was focusing on Diddy. Nobody was focusing on these lyrics. They were so caught up in the diss tracks between MGK and Eminem, and the fact that Killshot was one of the most viewed videos within 24 hours of releasing.
And it wasn't like nobody ever spoke up on what was happening. People did, but nobody believed them, or things were brutally and efficiently handled before they could deal real damage, leaving so many victims without a real platform to speak or any closure whatsoever.
Why do you think that women are now coming forward and making it public about what they may have experienced with him in a way that they didn't back then, late 90s, early 2000s?
I don't believe that. I believe that women have been coming out, but nobody was listening. You understand? Nobody wanted to hear it. Did you hear that guy Van from what you call that show was on TMZ? He said somebody told him the story about Gina years ago, but he didn't want to hear it, and he wasn't going to take it to TMZ because they was in partnership, or Diddy was in power. So he wasn't going to bring it up.
One victim of Epstein even talked about how Diddy's parties were common knowledge in the music industry, an open secret rather than something shameful that should have been hidden. This only works to prove that if those not in control or power were aware of what was happening, it makes no sense for those A-list celebrities that were always around Diddy to be blissfully unaware of his crimes.
Diddy?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in the early 2000s, Diddy was around a lot and everybody knew about his parties you didn't want to go to. I mean, there were the white parties, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I went to a white party. I mean, everybody wanted to go to the white parties, but like, you know, the after parties, I never went to, or most people I know didn't go to those. And they had a reputation of you didn't want to go to those parties. So that was very well known back then. I also knew like a club owner that used to say that, you know, he's gone to those parties and you know, about the bisexuality and things of Diddy and stuff. It was pretty well known back then.
Very open.
Yeah, it was pretty well in the music industry back then, that a lot of those men were doing those types of parties and stuff. So the difference with Sean Combs is that there was a lot of drugs around.
Yeah.
And with Epstein, he liked you to be very present, and there was never any alcohol or drugs around.
Jaguar has spoken on this multiple times, and her focus seems to always be on Jay-Z, the infamous rapper that was always associated with Sean Combs. Whether as a friend, rival, or business partner, his name has always been hand in hand with Combs, and yet he remained artfully silent during the 2 years and more the public spent running his dear friend to the ground.
There's a lot of inconsistencies with Mr. Carter. And Mr. Carter, I think he's going to be forced to have to start being a little bit more honest about him and who he is and who he really does associate with. That's why it's just like, you know, and even with the whole Drake, you know, in the White House tweeting Drake and the MAGA chain, and like, there's just a lot of stuff that's looking a little weird to me right now. And then you got the fact that the Diddy tape came out the same weekend.
Right.
Right? From the dark web.
He only spoke up once, to deny assault allegations when he was named in a lawsuit alongside Diddy. For everything else, though, he and his wife have been suspiciously quiet, not even speaking up on people like Jaguar talking about how he is worse than anyone else. And many people believe that he's just making sure the attention doesn't turn on him. Regardless of the lack of evidence, he certainly has been moving like someone who has a lot to hide.
There's a lot of negative stuff around Jay-Z right now, which is clearly damaging to him.
Yeah, and I think there's like a famous quote from someone who was acquitted, and he said, all right, where do I go to get my reputation back?
Right.
I mean, social media was a light. Beyonce's next, Jay-Z's next, all the people in Inner Circle is next.
Yeah, and the problem is there are just so many pictures of the two of them partying together, and he clearly was at a load of Diddy parties.
Wait, so hold on. Why is there chatter about Jay-Z being in the same club as Diddy? Allegedly, it's because of his interest in young girls. So rumor has it that Jay-Z exploits young women in the industry, young enough to be his own daughter. Now, if you've been following Jay-Z closely, you'll know that he's far from the wholesome family man he portrays himself to be. So Jay-Z has been under scrutiny for quite some time. Do you guys remember when he was romantically involved with Foxy Brown? yeah, she was just 15 years old and he was 27.
Another person that ties these names together is R. Kelly. Yet another person Jay-Z was heavily associated with, who received nothing but dead silence when arrested.
Despite everything, Jay-Z and R. Kelly reunited for 2004's Unfinished Business, though not before R. Kelly found himself in legal trouble once again due to his disturbing behavior. In January 2003, R. Kelly was arrested again on child pornography charges after investigators reportedly discovered photos of him engaging in sexual acts with a seemingly underage girl. However, the charges were later dropped when a judge ruled that the police lacked a proper warrant to search Kelly's home. Given the poor reception of their first album and R. Kelly's ongoing legal issues, one might question the motivation behind a second collaboration. Pitchfork explored this in their 2004 review of Unfinished Business. Radio stayed off the album like it was infected, and the artist never even bothered to make a video. As a result, the album was a relative flop, failing to sell even 1 million copies. Neither artist could cope with that sort of blot on their resumes.
Though it is to be noted that Jay-Z and Kelly weren't as close as Diddy and him were. Their relationship was mostly business, not to mention heavily strained. But Jay-Z was heavily criticized for working with him when everybody knew that Kelly was grooming Aaliyah and steering clear of being associated with him.
Hip-hop star R. Kelly did indeed marry his protege, the 15-year-old singer Aaliyah Houghton.
That was a headline. That was something talked about like it was normal.
Did y'all ever talk about it?
We talked about it up to the point where it hurt.
As Aaliyah opened up to Dame, he learned just how dark the relationship with R. Kelly had been.
We were out on the road with Aaliyah. On a tour bus, there really aren't any confined spaces. So it just so happened we were all laying in our bunks when the door flew open on the bus.
What did you see?
Things that an adult should not be doing with a child.
Dame would do anything to protect Aaliyah, but his partnership with Jay put him in a difficult position.
You ever have beef with R. Kelly while you was with Aaliyah?
She just wanted it left alone. So that's the thing that people would be like when Jay was doing videos with him, I was being the video, but I'd be like, yo, what do you want me to do? And she'd be like, don't start nothing, just don't be in no shots with him.
Another thing Wright highlighted constantly is the amount of deaths related to Combs, especially Kim Porter.
I've said that in my opinion, I believe Kim Porter's demise was foul play and that her baby daddy was behind it. I've been called a liar, I've been called a this, I've been called a that, it's been a this, it's been a that. And now finally my friend gets to say it for himself. Most important thing that Albert said was what I've been saying ever since the Cassie tape came out. Ever since the Cassie lawsuit came out. And Albert finally confirmed it. It wouldn't be about the Cassie case. If Kim were alive, it would have been about Kim. See, everything that Kim did made it possible for Cassie to do what she did, and I've been saying that.
Tupac's murder case still hasn't been solved, despite the shooting happening 30 years ago, and the fact that there was a clear witness.
See, one thing people don't understand, Suge know a whole lot, knows everything.
Right.
But Suge can't talk because if Suge talks, Suge implicate himself in 99.9% of the bullshit that was going on. So Suge could never talk.
So Suge can't just do an interview and say it was Orlando Anderson.
He can do, everybody understand. Everybody already know it's Orlando.
Right, exactly.
But Suge know that, Suge can't just say it was Orlando Anderson. You know and I know who's ever interviewing him gonna go way deeper into the situation than, well, who was it, Suge? No, Suge gonna have to explain, he gonna have to elaborate way more than what by just saying Orlando Anderson. And he knows that. But he cannot, 99.9% of the bullshit was his bullshit.
Diddy's own bodyguard has stated that he wanted Biggie dealt with and brought him to LA on purpose.
How you feel about the people that say Biggie was asking for him coming to LA so soon after Tupac got killed and him getting on the radio rapping Long Kiss Goodnight?
Man, you would get 100 people in the room, and out of the 100 people, probably 3 would say it was all right for Big to be in LA. 97% of those people would say he had no business in LA at that time. We all knew that. Why would Puff rent studio time? Come on, man, look. You gotta look at what people do, man. You know Pac just got killed. It ain't no kind of business Big was doing. Big couldn't even walk, he couldn't run. They was pushing him around in a wheelchair, brother. Why the hell would you rent studio time at LA for him to finish your album when in fact you got your own studio, Daddy's house? Let's keep it a buck. Let's stop this bull, man.
So was the lack of proof just that, or a scheme driven by fear of death and retaliation? These people have already proved what they are capable of keeping under wraps, and only time will tell how many of these infamous people will have to come to light before the web of lies is fully exposed. Share your thoughts, and as always, like and subscribe.